We're going to use this picture for problems 3, 4, and 5. We need to fill in the blanks. I'm going to try not to mark up the pictures too much because since we're going to be using them for all three. And luckily here on this first proof, we only have one blank to fill in. So we're given that line A and B are parallel, and then let's call this line C. I'm not sure which one is C and D, but if we look at, let's see, angle 5 and angle 16, I think we can say just C and D here. So angle 5 is congruent to angle 16. Notice that those are outside of the parallel lines, and the 5 is on top and the 16 is on bottom. That's where it's the alternate exterior angles. And then our one reason that we need to fill in. Angle 16 is congruent to angle 12. Well, if you notice, we've got angle or line A, line B that are parallel. Line D will be our transversal, and 12 is underneath the parallel line and to the right of the transversal. 16 is underneath the parallel line and to the right of the transversal. And what those are then are corresponding angles. And then I know that it says substitution for our last reason, and sometimes substitution and transitive property can be interchanged, but honestly here I really think that 5 is congruent to 16 and 16 is congruent to 12, and what happens is that the 5 is transported across the 16 to get our angle 5 is congruent to angle 12. I really think that this is the transitive property, not the substitution property. If we take a look at problem number 4, luckily again we don't have very many blanks to fill in. The problem for me is that I need to go back and forth to come up with the picture. But if we take a quick look here at this, A is parallel to B and C is parallel to D. We had to fill that in on that last one, same thing. This time we have angle 10 is congruent to angle 15. Well, angle 10 is above the parallel line and to the right, and angle 15 is below the parallel line and to the left of the transversal. So what those are alternate exterior angles. Then our next statement, and I know you can't see it on my paper just yet, but angle 15 is congruent to angle 6, and notice that 6 and 15 are on either side of the transversal, and here's your two parallel lines cut by a transversal. They're on opposite sides and they're in between, so that is why that is the alternate interior angles. And then just like that last problem here, I disagree with this answer. I know that these are good problems and sometimes that substitution can be interchanged, but I'm going to go transitive property again on this one. 10 gets transported across 15, and we end up with 10. Angle 10 is congruent to angle 6. One more problem here on page 5. And again, my biggest issue is being able to see this whole page. But let me see if I can do something different here. I'm going to pause the video for a moment. Well, I paused the video for a minute and I tried to expand out the camera, but that did not work very well. Luckily, we only have to fill in this last reason, and we still have that line A and B are parallel, as well as line C and D are parallel. That's a given. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 10 by alternate exterior angles. If I pull this picture up again, here is angle 3 on the outside of the parallel line. Here is angle 10 on the outside of the parallel line, and 3 is underneath the transversal and 10 is above. So that is why those are alternate exterior angles. Angle 10 and 14 are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles means that they are in the same place with respect to the parallel line and the transversal. So when we go back and look at the picture, 10 is above the parallel line and to the right of the transversal. 14 is above the parallel line and to the right of the transversal. Those are corresponding angles. And then our last statement here, angle 3 is congruent to angle 10. Angle 10 is congruent to angle 14. And again, what's happening is 3 is being transported across angle 10 to end up with 14. And once again, I believe that this is the transitive property.